So you said take Ample.
Hmm.
I hope people were paying attention when you were talking about Ampleforth as kind of a sponsor
Hmm.
for Bankless. And you had this great Meet the Nation where you actually interviewed one of the co-founders of Ample and went in depth on what
Hmm.
Ample is. But should we maybe start, David, with a recap of what Ample actually is in
Yeah.
case
So
people missed what you just said in the
you
sponsorship
missed
slot?
the sponsor
Yeah,
slot. Yeah.
yeah.
So Ampleforth goes up and down in price as all tokens do, right? Because when there is a specific number of units out there for a given period, that unit doesn't go, there isn't any more or less of that unit for that one time period. So like Bitcoin or like other assets, the price fluctuates. The only thing that Ampleforth does differently is that it tracks, using an oracle, it tracks the price of the Ampleforth token on secondary markets like Uniswap, and then it rebases, which means it adds more to the supply or removes from the supply an appropriate amount to keep that price roughly targeting dollars. So it's not a stable coin. It's just as volatile as Bitcoin, but the unit of account tracks a dollar over time. And so the YAM token does that too, but it also does some other things as well, right? And so that's
Okay,
what, go ahead.
real quick though, why is that useful, David? So obviously, it's really exciting when like we have tokens that are scarce supply because it
Mm-hmm.
creates sort of a scarcity game. I'd almost call this, people hate the word Ponzi, right? But so like there's Ponzi schemes that are ripping you off, and then there's transparent Ponzi's, which are like games. And I would say Bitcoin is like a transparent Ponzi game. Bitcoiners in their hearts would admit this too. Everyone is trying to collect their portion of the 21 million Bitcoins. That's the game, right? So this is like a game. It's a scarcity game. But the difference, one difference at least, it doesn't have Bitcoin's longevity, doesn't have all sorts of things, doesn't have its own blockchain. It's all based on Ethereum. But one of the key differences as well is this, it's trying to rebase itself as close as possible to $1 every day. Why is that even useful?
Yeah, so the jury is kind of actually still out on why this is useful. My answer for this is that it acts as trustless collateral for DeFi that you are going to be comfortable paying back in the future, like no matter what, right? So like the market cap of Ampleforth could go from something really, really small to really, really big. But if you owe 10 Ampleforth tokens and 10 amples, like you're only going to be paying back $10 plus or minus a couple percentage fluctuation. It doesn't matter what the market cap of the network did. You always will pay back roughly the same purchasing power in order to pay back your debts. And so
Right.
it's a trustless way to denominate debts over the long term. And so this really differentiates itself from DAI or a stable coin, especially USDC because it's relatively trusted. And then DAI, as people criticize DAI more and more and more for onboarding centralized assets, Ampleforth gets more and more relevant because DAI isn't an M0. DAI is an M1, which means it's created by collateral. Ampleforth is itself collateral. That's the main
Yeah,
difference.
right, exactly. And some people would say it's not a good M0 at all. And I would totally agree. What makes an M0 good is basically liquidity. The most saleable asset is what makes an M0 good. But there is something to what you said, I think. Again, this is a totally an experiment. But when people define, even economists define what money is, they usually look at 3 attributes. But there's actually 4 attributes. So they always talk about store of value, medium of exchange, and unit of account. But other economists add a 4th, and that's unit of deferred settlement. Unit of deferred settlement. So that's like unit of account, but unit of account specific to loans, right? And the reason the US dollar reigns supreme, basically, as the world's reserve currency is because most debt, most loans are denominated in US dollars. So this 4th attribute, unit of deferred settlement, is actually pretty important. That's the experiment it seems like Ampleforth is iterating on. But a lot of people, David, don't like Ampleforth. And I think when you boil it all down, it kind of is because of one thing. It's not that they don't understand the mechanism of it. I think, at least the smart folks that I've talked to, it's that they don't like the initial distribution of Ampleforth. A large portion of AMPs were distributed to investors to kind of fund the team, fund the original idea, right? And that's the aspect that folks don't like. It's not as organic. VCs are actually involved. The team has bags, quote unquote. And a lot of people, when you boil it all down, seem to be up in arms about that specific aspect of it. Would you
Right.
agree?
Yeah, they're just distrustful of people's whose incentive is to like shield their bag. And Ampleforth is kind of caught in this rock in the hard place where the project is about the token, where like
Right.
things like Aave or Compound or Maker, they're not centered around the token. They're centered around a product or service, whereas Ampleforth is centered around this token, which kind of puts the team in this hard, difficult spot of like, yeah, we're trying to grow our product and service, and our product and service is this token.
Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Hope you guys are all doing well today. I included that clip in the beginning because I felt like it was a more nuanced view of Ampleforth, and I felt like it would help augment or maybe even give you guys a fundamental understanding of what Ampleforth is about and what the team's long-term objectives are. And just to provide that video some level of context, the reason I started watching that video was because I wanted to learn more about yield mining for yams. One of my buddies who does research for me sent me this tweet, and that's what prompted me to start doing some research. Sometime in the future, I may do a video on that, but for now, I'm gonna go ahead and keep the conversations private. If you guys have any interest in talking about yams, you guys can click the link in the description below to come join me in my Discord channel. But the reason I decided to make this video was to show you guys this promotion. But don't worry, I'll go ahead and talk a little bit more about Ampleforth and what my plans are, whether I'm going to sell or if I'm going to buy more, or maybe just hold the Ampleforth tokens I have. But let's go ahead and talk about this promotion offered by Kucoin called Gold Rush, the month of Ample. I was recently approached by a representative from Kucoin, and they have this special program going on. To be eligible for this promo, you have to be a new member of Kucoin. So if you don't have an account already and you're looking to save some money while you add to your Ample exposure, or maybe you don't already have exposure and you're looking to open a brand new position in Ample. Obviously, there's an incentive for me, but for you guys, by signing up with my referral link, you guys will get a 20% discount on your Ample transaction. This promotion is going to be active from August 7th to September 7th. By the way, folks, I'll include a link to this page in the description below so you guys can reference it at any given time. So the way it works is if you sign up for an account and you make your first month of trades that you make on Kucoin, you'll receive a 20% discount on Ample transaction fees. And the discount will be distributed to the invitee account in the form of USDT. There's actually another way to buy Ampleforth tokens as well. I've done 2 video reviews of Ampleforth. One of the video reviews basically provides a quick intro and shows you how to get set up and take advantage of all the incentives offered by the Ampleforth team. In my second video, I'll discuss why I think Ampleforth may be sustainable in the long run. And I'll briefly touch on what their long-term plans are. For example, in the medium term, as they achieve market saturation, they hope that in the DeFi world, Ampleforth could potentially become a base currency. And if it achieves that status, there's a good chance that it'll be used in collateral products. So that way, when you're giving up your Bitcoin to take out a collateral loan, it would be coupled with Ampleforth to reduce some of the volatility. And of course, the long-term plan is to be this massive money market account that can absorb billions and billions of dollars worth of trades. And in my judgment, I don't really see Ampleforth going anywhere, at least in the short term. Even though I think it's a high-risk project, there's a good chance that it may not succeed in its endeavors. I don't think we've seen the end of Ampleforth. The sell-off that we just witnessed was based on pure FUD. There was a lot of people who gained exposure because they thought they would make quick gains, and when their position turned red, they immediately exited. But I don't think people have seen the last of Ampleforth. I mean, if you look at the balancer pools here, you can see that something interesting is going on. It's being paired up with some of the more popular, some of the more successful projects in the DeFi space. And there's even a banker pool that's coming up for it. At this stage, it's very difficult to say where Ampleforth is going to end up, what kind of role it's going to play in the DeFi space. I view it as an amorphous asset. I think as it increasingly gains market share, as you see increasing saturation, the DeFi space will find new and innovative ways to integrate Ampleforth tokens. I knew going into the project that it would be very high risk, so I'm okay with the volatility relative to my entire portfolio. I didn't allocate too much into it, so my tentative plan is to just let my investment ride and keep up to date with some of the developments. If you guys wanted to follow along, I strongly encourage you guys to subscribe and click that notification bell. Not only will I cover Ampleforth related news, but I also tend to cover a lot of DeFi related news as well. If you're interested in having a discussion with me and some of my peers, there's a link in the description below to my Discord channel. I welcome all of you guys to join. And if you guys enjoyed the content today, make sure to give me a like. I'd love to hear your thoughts and insights in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. This is CryptoOneStop signing out. I'll talk to you folks next time.